Just wait, they said. Something big is coming. I'm Erin. I'm 27. I live alone in a small town outside Denver, in a house I fixed up myself. I run a small interior design business. It's nothing flashy, but it's steady, quiet, like my life. My family doesn't really use my name anymore. When they talk about me, if they talk about me, it's just your sister or her. Sometimes I wonder if I faded, or if they chose to blur me out. So when Mom called 2 weeks before my birthday, I thought it was a mistake, but then she spoke. Hi, honey, I was just wondering, what day is your birthday this year? I told her, June 14th, same as it's always been. She let out a soft laugh. Well, keep it open, okay? Don't plan anything, something's coming. I asked what kind of something. She said, you'll see, it's big. 3 days later, my brother Zach texted, keep the day free, you'll like what's coming, it's time. Zach doesn't usually text me unless he needs help picking out a couch or a gift for Mom, but this time, he didn't ask for anything, just sounded involved. That was unusual. They haven't celebrated my birthday in years. There was the year they sent a midnight group text with 2 emojis, another year they promised to do something later. Later never came. But this time felt different. Like they were actually planning something. And I wanted to believe them. So, I cleared my calendar. Skipped a site visit. Turned down dinner with a friend. I even bought myself a small chocolate cake with a sugar flower, just like the ones Dad used to bring home when I was little. I cleaned the kitchen. Lit a candle. Set the table for 2. Not because I expected anyone, but just in case. I put on the pearl earrings Grandma gave me when I was 16. And I waited. By noon, I'd checked my phone 5 times. By 2 p.m., I was stalking Zach's socials. The candle burned lower. The sugar flower began to melt. And the only question I couldn't shake was, did they really remember me this year, or just want me to think they did? By 2:30, the candle had sunk halfway down. The sugar flower drooped. I pushed one plate aside. Told myself maybe they were planning something for the evening. A surprise delivery. A video call. Even a cheesy message like, close your eyes. I didn't believe it. But I didn't stop hoping. To pass the time, I folded a blanket, adjusted picture frames, picked up a sock that didn't need moving, anything to stay busy without facing the silence too directly. At 4:15, I checked again. Still no calls. No texts. No updates. Just a software reminder and a promo email. I thought about calling them, asking, is something still happening? But I didn't want to sound desperate. Or worse, confused silence on the other end. By 5, I sat at the table and stared at the second plate. Poured a glass of wine, something to hold that wasn't a phone. Took one bite of cake. It tasted like sugar and nothing else. By 6:15, I opened Instagram. Not to post, just to scroll. Everyone else was out, at dinners, parks, concerts. Laughing, holding drinks, hugging dogs and birthday hats. I reminded myself people post their best moments. Told myself not to read into it. But my feed stayed quiet. No tags. No messages. No happy birthday, Erin. I checked the family group chat. The last message was 5 days ago. A picture of Paul's dog in a sweater. Zach had commented legend. I'd added a heart. No one noticed. By 7, the candle gave out. I let it die on its own. I thought I'd cry. But I didn't. No anger, no drama. Just stillness. I wasn't waiting anymore. But I still wondered. What was the big thing, and how could it happen without me? At 7:45, I opened Instagram again. I told myself it was out of boredom. But really, I was still hoping. One photo. One mention. A candle emoji. Even a blurry shot with me tagged too late. Instead, I saw something else. Mallory's story. I tapped it. It opened with twinkling lights strung above a wooden deck. Then slowly, it panned to a long dinner table. There they were. My parents. Zach. Aunt Denise. Uncle Leo, who doesn't even live in the state. Everyone smiling. Glasses raised. Napkins on laps. At the family cabin. The one we stopped visiting. Too far, they'd said. Needed repairs, they claimed. And there they were. Without me, the cabin, the one I always offered to help fix. The one they said nobody used anymore. Above the long table. strung in uneven gold script, hung a banner, Zach and Mallory, forever starts now. The caption read, "A night to remember, DOS engaged again, family first." I blinked. Read it again. Engaged again. Not even their first, just a second engagement party, a redo. And that had replaced my birthday. They didn't forget. They chose. Then I saw her, Mallory, wearing soft pink, laughing, her head tilted just enough to reveal the necklace. The locket. It shimmered in the light, oval, smooth with age, a delicate leaf pattern etched around the edge. My grandmother's. The one she wore on holidays, graduations, every milestone. The one she placed in my palm when I was 12 and whispered, "This is for you, baby, when you're grown, when it's your time." After she passed, I asked Mom about it once. She said she was keeping it safe. That was the last I heard. And now, Mallory wore it like a borrowed charm. No history, no hesitation, no wait. I tapped to the next story. My mother, hugging her, eyes glassy with emotion. The caption read, "Gained a daughter tonight." Something inside me stilled. It wasn't that they hadn't invited me. It was that I didn't belong. And they weren't sorry. They were proud. Proud enough to post it. Proud enough not to hide it. Proud to make space for someone new, by pushing me out. I wasn't erased by accident. I was replaced, deliberately, completely, with a toast and a banner. And the worst part wasn't what they took. It was how freely they gave it away. I was 12 the last time I held that locket. Grandma had taken it off slowly, her fingers fragile, but careful. We were sitting on her porch, orange slices on a tray between us. The summer air thick with stillness and sweetness. She looked at me, really looked. Not through me. Not past me. Just at me. "You've got quiet eyes," she said. "Like your mama did when she was little." Then she unhooked the clasp, placed the locket in my hand, and whispered, "This one's yours, when the time is right." Inside, a photo of her and Grandpa on their wedding day, grinning like they'd stolen something wonderful. And on the other side, a folded paper heart. Uneven edges. My name, scribbled in fading blue ink, Erin Lee. I asked, "Should I keep it now?" She smiled. "No, but you'll know." After she died, I waited a few months, then asked Mom about it. "Oh, that old thing?" she said. "I think I packed it with her scarves, I'll check later." She never did. And I never asked again. I told myself it was just an object. That I had the memory, that was enough. But I lied. I told myself maybe she didn't forget me in the will. Maybe the lawyer made a mistake. Maybe Mom was grieving and meant to return it. She never did. And now, seeing it around Mallory's neck, resting like decoration against her designer dress, I finally saw the truth. They hadn't forgotten my name. They saw it. And chose to ignore it. The locket wasn't just jewelry. It was proof that, once, someone saw me and said, "You matter most." And now that proof was draped on someone who had never been promised it. I didn't text, didn't call. Not Mom, not Zach, not Mallory. There was nothing to say that wouldn't sound smaller than the silence they'd already handed me. I set my phone down. Closed the curtains. By morning, I wasn't angry. Not heartbroken. Just done. I opened the family group chat. Scrolled through months of dog photos, birthday wishes, for Zach, always for Zach, and casserole recipes from Aunt Denise. My name barely showed up. It wasn't an oversight. It was the norm. I tapped leave group. No warning. No "Are you sure?" Just gone. Then I opened Instagram. Unfollowed Zach. Unfollowed Mallory. Muted Mom's account. Not out of spite. Out of survival. But before I logged out, I checked Zach's story one last time. There was a new clip. Mallory blowing out candles. Dad clapping. Mom raising a glass. And Zach's voice saying, "To the only woman who ever made this family feel whole." I watched it 3 times. The only woman. So that's what I was now. Not the daughter. Not the sister. Just a placeholder. A silence. A seat quietly filled by someone else. It wasn't just Mom and Dad who let me fade. Zach did too. The same brother who once built Lego bridges with me for days. The one who called me after his first breakup, asking if heartbreak was supposed to feel like hunger. He told me, "Clear your day," and then he used it, for her. No apology. No explanation. Just, erasure. I closed the app. That afternoon, I boxed up the last photo I had of all four of us. And I didn't look back. It had been taken at the cabin, before Mallory, before Silence. I wrapped the photo in newspaper and slid it to the back of the closet. I didn't delete it. But I didn't need it out in the open anymore. That night, I didn't light a candle. Didn't check my phone. I watched the sky dim through the window and let the quiet settle, not the silence of being forgotten, but the silence of no longer waiting. And the question that echoed, the one I hadn't dared ask until now. If this is what they do when they say they love me, what would they do if I asked for nothing? The message came 3 days later. Not from Mom. Not from Dad. From Zach. Hey, saw you left the group, everything okay? I stared at it for a long time. The kind of message you send when you already know the answer, but hope the other person lies. I didn't reply. 4 hours later. Look, I get that you're upset, but can we just talk? Mallory didn't mean anything by it, neither did Mom. Still nothing. The next day, he called. I let it ring twice, then fade. Then, you're my sister. That has to mean something, right? I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it sounded like a line from a show we both stopped believing in a long time ago. By the end of the week, Mom emailed. Hi, sweetheart. We missed you last weekend. It was all very last minute. Hope you're well, let's catch up soon. No mention of my birthday. No apology. Not even a sorry we forgot. Just polished nothing. The subject line stuck with me, still family. Still, as in despite everything. As if the act of remembering me, barely, was a kind of generosity. A few days later, Zach showed up. No call, no warning. Just him, on my doorstep, holding a bag of bagels, from the bakery we used to love. I opened the door, but only slightly. Blueberry and plain, our usual. He held them out like peace. I didn't take them. He shifted. Look, Aaron, I know you're hurt. But do you really want to make this a thing? It was just a celebration. It wasn't about you. I said nothing. I'm getting married, he added. Can we not start this division thing right now? There it was. The ask. Not for understanding. Not for healing. Just for quiet. His kind of peace. Can we just move on? He asked, softer now. I looked at him, not as my brother, but as someone who had made a choice, and hoped I'd stay quiet enough to make it easier. I said the one thing I knew he wouldn't argue with. I'm not trying to ruin anything, Zach. I'm just not pretending anymore. He nodded like that closed it, like silence was agreement. But it wasn't. It was just my exit. I didn't go to the bridal shower. Didn't RSVP. Didn't reply to the pastel invite with fake cheer from Mallory's cousin. I wasn't surprised they invited me. It looked good. On paper, it proved they were still inclusive. I let the email sit unopened. Then let it expire. A week later, Mom called. I answered this time. Sweetheart, she said, like nothing had happened. Everyone missed you. Zach chimed in, you're still upset. We didn't mean to leave you out. Things just moved fast, you know how it is. I almost said, I know exactly how it is. But I didn't. Because silence carries louder, when they expect forgiveness. Then she asked. Will you come to the wedding, at least? It's important to your brother. I didn't answer right away. I looked around, at my home. My life. Everything I built alone. And then, calmly, I said the truth I had never said out loud. I used to be there. You just didn't look at me. Silence. Not dropped, just, hollow. Mom cleared her throat. That's not true, honey. But it was. And we both knew it. I didn't say anything more. Didn't hang up. Just let the quiet stretch between us. Finally, she muttered. Well, let me know. Click. I sat with it. No rage. No sorrow. Just stillness. Not the stillness of waiting. The stillness of being done. A week before the wedding, I wrapped the locket. Not in a gift box. Not with ribbon. Just a plain white envelope. The kind for bills or court dates. I slipped the necklace inside, still warm from my hand. No note. No explanation. I walked it to the post office myself. The clerk asked if I wanted tracking. I said no. I wrote the address by hand. Mallory Green, care of Zachary West. No return. No name. Just the locket, going exactly where they believed it belonged. I didn't want it back. I didn't need them to understand. I just needed it out of my house. That Sunday, I got one final message. Did you send this? I didn't reply. There was nothing left to explain. That night, I took down the last family photo hanging in the hallway and replaced it with something I'd kept tucked away for years. A charcoal sketch from college, one chair, slightly off-center, in an empty room. Still. Unoccupied. I hung it straight. Stepped back. Looked. A reminder. I was there. I stayed at the table long after my seat had been cleared. They wouldn't say my name at the wedding. Wouldn't toast me in speeches. Might not even notice the envelope arrived. But somewhere, deep and wordless, they would know. I saw it all. I remembered. And I left the door open behind me. Not so I could return, but so they'd know I didn't have to. If you ever left quietly, just so they'd feel the silence louder, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Just leave a dot.